I can tell a story about how a cute acupuncturist and a cocktail got me into the New York Times. The cool thing was that Mary, my cocktail, and I did make it into the New York Times, and the cocktail made it on the front page of the New York Times for a brief period. The article was 35 ways that real people are using AI right now. Coming in at number 4 was my gift idea, which they wrote, and I like it when they call me Mr. Strain. Mr. Strain used ChatGPT to create a custom book of cocktails based on the tenets of traditional Chinese medicine, written in the style of the J. Peterman catalog. He took the idea further the next day, using Dall-E to generate images of the cocktails for the final book, which he gave to his girlfriend for Valentine's Day. Definitely geeky, but a little bit cute. So let me start this story with a little context. Mary is an acupuncturist who not so long ago got her doctorate in Chinese medicine. And let's just say that we both enjoy the occasional cocktail. So she and her friend Jamie have finished up a long day of training, and they walk into a bar in Oakland, and being very thoughtful, they call and they say, "Can you join us? And can we have a drink waiting for you?" So I do the responsible thing, and I hop in the back of an Uber, and the driver is still in his bag. So this is a little freaky. And I tell them to hold on for just a second. And I fire up ChatGPT. And I'm thinking it might be nice to give them something appropriate to ask for in terms of a cocktail. If you haven't seen it, this is what ChatGPT looks like. I start with something basic, like what are the terms in Chinese medicine that would make the best names for cocktails? And it starts cranking out names with quick backstories on things like Chi Tonic, Yin Yang Martini, Jing Julep, Meridian Mule, Acupuncture Aperitif, Tai Chi Tequila, and Feng Shui Fizz. Knowing enough about Chinese medicine to know that not all these herbs might be tasty in my cocktail, I ask it, what are the TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, ingredients that would be tasty in a Western cocktail? And it starts cranking them out. Goji berries, ginger, chrysanthemum. I then ask it, remembering the two acupuncturists are waiting in the bar, to create a recipe for the cocktail based on the traditions of Chinese medicine and acupuncture. Provide an innovative name, a one-sentence compelling description of the cocktail, a list of ingredients, mixing instructions, and an entertaining backstory in the style of the J. Peterman catalog. So now that we have the recipe, we've got to come up with the imagery. So we take the recipe and we say, what color might this cocktail be? So it comes back and it tells us that it is a blush pink to soft red hue. So we take that, we blend in some of the backstory, and we head on over to make an image. So in this case, we fire up Adobe's Firefly, and the dogs are there because it always starts with something and has a pre-populated prompt to show you how it works. Plug it in. So I plug in what it had from ChatGPT, and then I basically go in and edit it, focus on the color. I could put in the type of cocktail glass that I wanted, and then when it talks about the ingredients, I basically just go through and cut out a lot of the extra wording and just put in the things that I want to show up. In this case, the goji berries and the lemons. So that's pretty good, but I kind of want a Chinese dragon in the background. I've got a bunch of photos already in the book, so let's try a little artistic art filter on it. If you notice quickly, you'll see that it downloads all the metadata and the provenance information as well. More on that later. I also went through and created background on different modalities of acupuncture. This is what a page actually looked like with the ingredients, directions, and the backstory that we talked about. And at the bottom, I did put the prompt. And again, for the images, same thing. Under each text and image is the prompt. So this is the cool thing here. At this point, you may not be wondering this, but I am, based on some of my personal experiences with some kind of questionable meals in China. So I ask it, based on the ingredients contained in the cocktail, can you provide a way to score the taste profile of the cocktail on several dimensions? That's pretty vague. I'm not even sure what I'm asking, and I'm just trying to explore. So it comes back and it gives me a taste profile of the cocktail that's scored across several dimensions. And it goes through about 10 of these different dimensions: sweetness, sourness, bitterness, spiciness, describes them. And then that was a pretty random list. And then I ask it to put it in an order that was logical based on similar characteristics within the profile. Wasn't even sure what I was asking. I was blown away with what I got. This is crazy. It starts coming back with the different dimensions, the description of why specific to that cocktail it's going to score it the way that it does. I have no idea how I would have gone about doing this. At this point, I'm thinking this is one of the most amazing creative tools I've seen. I never would have gone down this path on my own. And it's pushing me in areas that I just had never thought of. So at this point, it's like my head is being blown. So because we can, let's create a graph of Chinese cocktail flavor profiles. Bang it into Google Sheets, put it into a fancy graph. And I don't know. I don't know if this is meaningful or not, but it's a pretty interesting way of looking at Chinese cocktails. So you see how this thing goes, right? Is cocktail DNA a thing? Do we patent it? Do we sign up for the domain? Seems like an interesting idea. Is it valid? I don't know. So then to go a little deeper, we asked ChatGPT, is it possible to map a flavor profile for cocktails similar to Pandora's music DNA? And as it does, ChatGPT starts going. If anybody tries to make the case that generative AI is not creative, keep in mind that we started this with two acupuncturists walking into a bar, and we ended up someplace so far different from where I thought we were going to end up. And it keeps going. Base spirits, primary flavors, secondary flavors, aromatics, texture and mouthfeel, balance and complexity, garnish influence, preparation method. Amazing. So we'll completely change gears on ChatGPT and say, that's amazing. How could we create a business out of this? And after telling us that it could be a fascinating and potentially lucrative business, it tells us there's a cocktail recommendation app, subscription box service, partnering with bars and restaurants, online cocktail classes, data and the analytics for the beverage industry, and a catering service. And as at this point, you've probably imagined, I could ask it for more information on any of these, and it would just keep going
still here
all
and
night.
watching, you get it.
If we can apply this to Chinese medicine and cocktails, you can apply it to anything. It is really about curiosity. And if you're a fan of Edward de Bono, sort of lateral thinking. So we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to bring it back to the book, but I would really encourage you to kind of get in and explore and play with it and see how you can use it, like, to challenge your ideas and expand what you're thinking about, because it is absolutely mind-blowing. Bringing this back to the book, here's how I would look at each of the stages, which of course I got from ChatGPT. Let's start with the concepting and ideation, almost entirely done with ChatGPT. The recipe collection and creation, entirely done with ChatGPT. I would say the testing and tweaking, some of that would had to be done by ourselves. We took that on. That was it was a big effort we took on. Next, the writing and editing, all of that done. And a lot of that came in when we wrote about acupuncture and about what was actually happening with mixology in China. Illustration and images, all of that was done with ChatGPT and with Dall-E, most of that with Dall-E. Where it really fell down was design and layout. Those tools are still way far behind, at least the ones that I had come across. So the question that a bunch of people ask, the question you may still be asking is, so that's all nice, but like, how did you get in the New York Times? So the Hard Fork podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts, they had a call for users to submit use cases. You had to go through and submit an audio use case. So I did mine and I submitted it and I thought it was pretty exciting and I heard nothing back, which makes sense. And then probably 3 weeks later, I got a call from Larry Buchanan, who writes for The Upshot, and he explained that he was putting this story together of the way regular people use AI. And he found, I think, sort of delightfully quirky is probably where I would have fit in. But anyway, so that's it. So we had a quick conversation. I explained what I was doing. He gave me my micro moment of fame, and that was it. So anyways, all of that is the story that I wanted to share. It sort of sums up my fascination with what's happening with GenAI. I think it is one of the most exciting, the most creative things that's happening out there. It is one of those things that requires quite a bit of work and understanding to understand the nuances of what you're working with, whether it's ChatGPT or Bard or any of the myriad of other language models that are out there. So thank you for hanging with me. I just encourage you to jump in and try it and explore. And please reach out with any questions or comments, because I'm super passionate about helping people understand this. So thank you.